What just happened?
What just happened?
What just happened?
What just happened?
What the f happened?
What just happened? I'm Dan. That's Julia. And today we're talking Yellowjackets Season 2, Episode 7, called Burial. Jules, before we get into it, and there's a lot to get into this week, I have to remind everyone we're doing a giveaway. Once we hit 2,000 subscribers, someone's going to win 3 months of Regal Unlimited. If you're not from the USA, you'll just win a gift card to your favorite store. I think that's fair.
Yeah, that works.
Right. Okay, this episode was my favorite one this season, by far.
Me too.
There was so much there, and there was answers, and there was things that the commenters nailed. A couple things.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So if you want to take credit for that down in the comments, I know one of them definitely was during our live stream. So just take credit if you predicted one of these things that we're going to go over. Also, you might want to watch to the end because we have a great Kiznbelle post of the week this week. Fantastic.
Oh, I'm so excited for this one.
Yeah. So this week starts out with, pretty much how we expected. All the Yellowjackets are mourning over the loss of Shauna's baby, and everyone's just down in the dumps, of course. I mean, how else would you feel? Ty tries to cheer her up.
You can take a walk and get some fresh air. I can come with you if you want.
It's probably just too soon, Jules. She don't want to hear anything.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that.
And she's clearly going through something because of what happens towards the end of the episode. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get to it. She's working through some stuff, Shauna. So she goes outside with the corpse, very sad, puts it down in the snow and puts rocks around it. And I'm sure they're going to eventually bury the baby.
So heartbreaking.
Yeah, that was brutal. Yeah, it was rough. You can tell the whole community is rocked by this. They're all just really hurting from it. So I really liked what was going on with everyone at Lottie's compound this episode. And it's kind of what we've been waiting for, to see them all interact together. And it was really funny how Van and Ty are just like,
I'm sorry, have you two joined a cult since we last saw you?
what's going on here? And Lottie's like,
we are an intentional community.
and Van's like, well, what's your intention? Like, what's going on?
What is the intention exactly?
She was great. She was a standout this episode
Oh,
for me.
she's fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, we're Lauren Amber's stands over here, but she did a great job. She was a standout. But then it gets to Nat, like, what are you doing here? And she actually credits them for being able to bring her walls down for once. And she says it's a good place. Yeah, and that they should buy in.
It's funny to me because, like, she still sounds like she's being sarcastic when she
Oh my
talks.
gosh, yeah.
But
Yeah,
like,
she does.
she's really like bought into it.
Yeah, she has. She's a lot better. I mean, she was suicidal. And now, after she said it's been a week, now she's in a completely better place. So yeah, it's doing something. So then Lottie explains how it works.
When someone new comes in, we often let them choose a treatment.
You get 4 options. So it's either renewal, self-care, forage, or guidance. So they all pick their treatment, and Shauna ends up in self-care, which is taking care of Bruce the goat.
Self-care means taking care of the goat for the rest of the day. His name is Bruce, by the way.
When she was like talking about how Lottie was like, oh, just go with what sticks out to you. And Shauna's like, well, right now, all of my logical feelings are just like screaming.
Yeah.
I was like, girl, feel you on that.
It makes sense that she chose the self-care option, but I'm sure she
yeah.
wasn't. If she really knew what it was that she had to take care of a goat, who knows? And it was really funny how she just assumed she was going to have to kill the goat eventually the whole time.
Yeah.
She was actually really good in this episode too. Adult
Oh, she's
Shauna.
great. Yeah.
Very good.
Honestly, they were all great in this episode.
Yeah, it was a really great episode. Okay, Ben's vision. Now, this time, he wasn't transported back to Jersey. This time, the vision happened in the cabin. And people were speculating in the comments when we were like, oh, what's the point of these visions? They were right. They were like, he's kind of disassociating himself. But if you listen, it's usually something that's going on in the cabin that he's having a vision about. Was just him losing it a little bit. And we saw what that led to in this episode.
Yeah, but here's my thing. So based on, some of the stuff I've read in the comments and just like rewatching those scenes, like the disassociation scenes, I think that represents like a limbo of sorts, like between life and death. Because like, did you notice how Paul picked up the phone and he was like,
But he isn't ready.
Yeah.
And then he told him, you're not allowed to come back here. Like,
You're
I
not
think
welcome
that's
here.
him saying like, it's not your time, like go back. And he lives. So
Yeah, well, that scene, like you said, Paul says, you're not welcome here anymore. It's just time, but we all love you. So yeah, he was going through it, and then he ends up shaving after this, and we'll get to it, what he does. It was a good episode for Ben, I feel, overall. So Misty gets to her guidance treatment, which is a trip in the sensory deprivation tank, but Misty being Misty, she finds a way to get out of it for now. Tells Lisa she has to go to the bathroom,
I think
sneaks
that sounds
out.
really cool.
Yeah,
that sounds
I
like
wanna
a
do
really
one of
fucking
those.
cool thing to do. So do I.
Yeah, there's different types too. There's some that is complete darkness and that's it, but some block out all noise. So you're just floating with no noise and no light. And you're just floating
Like
there.
that sounds a little creepy, but like also like I just think that would be such a cool experience.
People say they have like really strong visions because your mind just starts,
Yeah.
there's nothing going on. So your mind just starts to create some scenarios.
I mean,
So
yeah, you
really cool. Yeah.
mute all external stimuli. I mean,
And when it actually happens, that scene, that's so much fun. We'll get to it. Oh my gosh,
Oh,
this
yeah.
episode was great. So then in the past, Misty overhears some Yellowjackets talking about Crystal.
I'm pretty sure she did something to Crystal.
Why would she kill her only friend?
I don't know, because she's Misty.
it is sketchy.
But then immediately she gathers everyone to talk about Crystal.
The snow has stopped, and we need to go out there and we need to look for Crystal.
That was like a Jeff move, doing something that
Like,
quick.
right, that wasn't suspicious.
Right.
Like you should have at least waited like a couple hours.
The one girl was onto her. The one that was with Aquila.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
There was a couple new faces
100%.
this episode. Definitely haven't seen a couple of these
Well, she
characters
wasn't
before.
new, but I can never remember her name.
They're just shining light on different characters, like the girl with the backwards hat in this episode too. It's like everybody's starting to get more of a shot here. You're gonna need
Yeah.
some people that are gonna have to be killed off. So yeah, there's got to be characters
That's
they're gonna have
true.
to introduce us to. Freshly shaven Ben agrees with Misty,
Misty's right.
but then someone says, "What if the wilderness took her and the baby?" And Lottie just steps in and says, "It doesn't trade. It hears us." And then they gather around and do their chant.
We hear the wilderness, and it hears us.
We hear the wilderness and it hears us.
Very creepy chant.
It's definitely very creepy.
As everybody's like, all right, let's go look for her then. A couple people stayed back.
I mean, that wouldn't be the worst thing that could happen, right? You mean we could... Well, I'm not saying I want to.
If she is dead.
It's
Yeah.
like, but I don't want to, but
I don't want to. Yeah.
but like if it happens, would it
Yeah.
be that?
That's just like when people talk shit on someone and end it
Yeah.
with saying, but he's a good guy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like the same type of way. And then that puts Misty on her new mission for this episode, which we'll talk about. So then Lottie and Ty are talking, and Lottie thinks maybe that Ty could help find Crystal, just like she found Hobby. And she says, since I've been going to your little circles in the morning, I don't sleepwalk anymore. I think that part of me is gone. And Lottie's not so sure.
She's not gone. And that's a good thing, Ty.
I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where it's like kind of have to learn how to navigate it for it to
Yeah.
be a good thing. Feels like there might be some bad news bears there.
Yeah, just get used to waking up in the middle of nowhere with dirt in your mouth every now and then. And you'll be okay. Yeah. And then a really fun transition. I liked how they showed the conversation of those two in the past, and then in the current time they're actually together. It goes hand in hand with that scene because she tells Lottie that she's sleepwalking again.
I'm sleepwalking again. I need help.
Then Lottie says,
She always had a deep connection to the wilderness, and she had wisdom, too.
so yeah, we just had that scene in the past and now in the current time, and she still has that same feeling about other Ty, about Night Ty.
I think that really highlights too that like how similar present day Lottie is to herself when she was in that situation.
Yeah, she seems like, I guess Misty too. A couple of characters have really changed from past to present, and Lottie still seems kind of like the same.
She just doesn't want to be suppressed. She's still a part of you, Ty.
And oh man, what they give us at the end of this episode.
Mhm.
Oof. Then a really fun scene with Shauna and Misty. Shauna's goat got away. It chewed through some rope. They're walking, and Misty thinks she can joke with Shauna about Adam. Shauna doesn't like that at all.
Yeah.
But then Misty makes a good point.
Hey, newsflash. I am the only person who took your killing with the seriousness that it required.
So-
Fair. But I mean,
Uh-huh.
it doesn't give her the
Yeah.
right to joke about her trauma though.
Exactly. Yeah. Misty just doesn't know the time and place. She really doesn't.
Ever, apparently.
And ever, really. So then, yeah, they find Bruce. He ate some rope that Shauna's going to have to go deal with. But then Lisa is looking for Misty, so she gets brought back. And then we see Misty kind of make an excuse. Not really an excuse. She just like got really sad about Crystal and everything so that they would be like, oh, just go ahead back to the cabin. The one girl is being really mean about it, but Aquila is being nice about it. But really, she was just trying to get alone so she could go look for Crystal on her own so nobody eats her. She don't want anybody to eat her.
Which
so.
like is all things considered pretty nice of her.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, all things considered, she's trying to do the right thing now, even though they do need to eat. It's a really tough
Well, yeah, that's true.
situation. But she even says, like, I got to make sure you don't get eaten. Kristen, she says it by her actual name.
No.
So
Poor
it was
Kristen.
sweet. Yeah. And then Shauna's worried about the goat eating the rope. The dude's not helping her. It's kind of like, that's up to you to figure this out. Like, that's the whole point of taking care of the goat. Like, it's your responsibility.
Yeah.
And that's the point of the process. So no one's going to help her. She goes to Lottie.
I'm not gonna kill this fucking goat, okay? Fuck you.
You don't have to kill the goat.
She's like, I don't.
Oh, dude, how
Are you sure?
sweet. How sweet was her
so
reaction?
cute.
Bruce.
Also,
That
a
was
great
awesome.
name for a goat.
Yeah, it is. It is a great name. And then she kind of breaks down about her relationship with Callie, starts getting really, really upset. And Lottie, I think, sees this as, hey, we're making progress. I think that
Yeah.
was a good scene for them. They have a lot of shit to work through.
I mean, yeah, but and I think that's kind of why they included the Callie storyline, at least in relation to her mom, because the one guy said, your self-care is intertwined with your kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like you can tell by the way she treats her child that she's like she's not good up there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. I think they're all going to benefit from being here. I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Misty's back with Lisa. She makes her get into the tank. And wow, Jules, how sick
I
was this scene?
loved this scene so
Amazing.
much.
Amazing.
Like I rewound it and watched it again. It was so
Yeah.
cool.
It's a musical number with Walter and this man named Caligula that was in the bird suit. Then in the vision, she's talking to Caligula. He says, you're not a murderer, you're a closer. And then the coolest part of the episode, in my opinion, Walter uses Morse code to send Misty a message.
Yes.
We have that message. We're going to tell you at the end of the episode. So watch to the end. You'll see it. It's
I'm
really
so
cool.
excited.
We have exactly what they said. Somebody figured it out on the internet already. Thank you, Kiznbelle.
Ah, bless.
So then she gets out of the tank and she's in really high spirits. She goes right to the phone, calls Walter. She's apologetic. She leaves a voicemail. She's very sweet. Says, hey, you were right. That's a good sign for my hopes that they get married. I like that. That she apologized. to
I
him.
think that is a good sign.
And then in the past, Misty finds Ben at Poop Cliff and he's ready to off himself. He's shaved. He's done. And she tries to talk him out of it. First, she tries a different type of tactic, I guess a Misty tactic. Says she'll tell the whole world their love story. She'll say that, hey, you knocked up Shauna. You tried to knock up everyone. Hey, I'll tell everyone you're gay. And he's just like, do it. Like that.
Yeah, the tactics were
yeah.
questionable. She's
Yeah,
like,
that
"Well,
wasn't
we're
working.
just gonna eat you. And he's like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, go ahead. It seemed like there was no talking him out of it, but then she gets real, gets emotional, pleads for him to stop, and he stops. So Ben's still here
Now, see,
for now.
that is why I think that those dissociation scenes are about them living or dying. Because he was
Yeah.
about to do it and then he's not ready yet.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good catch. Current time. How about Van and Ty kissing?
Ooh.
That was big.
Literally, my notes in all caps, like this big. It's like, yes, Van and Ty.
Yeah.
I was so
Yeah.
excited.
They're very sweet together. But commenter called this. Van's sick.
Ugh.
She has cancer. So good job. Whoever called that, take credit in the comments. And that's why she was taking the painkillers. And this all kind of makes sense. This is why Van has this type of outlook on life right now. She's like, I got a couple months to live.
I have months.
And guess what? I wasn't
Yeah.
even going to tell you. Why weren't you going to tell me? There's no point. We don't know each other anymore. So that
Which
was
is
interesting.
true.
Yeah, it is true.
Right. And I have only a couple months to live. I don't want to think about the darkest points of my life.
Right, exactly. Why would you want to do that? Okay, and then another thing that the commenters got right. So Lottie's in another therapy session. As soon as it started, I'm like, all right, no one trusts this therapist. Let me see if I can figure something out. But I don't have to think for long.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
You tell me, does a hunt that has no violence feed anyone?
Insane.
I was so excited because the first time someone mentioned that, I was like, oh my God, that makes a lot of sense.
Mhm,
And like,
yep.
then I noticed like the outfits were the same. And I'm like, this has to be in her head. Has to be.
Antler Queen's scary. It's really
It
scary.
really is. And
Yeah.
it makes, like I said before, I think it was on the live stream, but it makes sense that the Antler Queen being the therapist and was trying to get Lottie off her meds so
Mhm,
that she could
yeah.
like take over again.
Yeah, the Antler Queen wants kind of what happened 25 years ago. And a lot of people have the It theories from It the movie because it comes back every 27 years and starts to wreak
Yeah.
havoc again. So a lot of people think there's something going on with time, like, oh, it's time to give the sacrifice again. It followed you here. So it's really
I mean, it's
interesting.
been
I
what,
like that.
25 years? So
Yeah, really interesting stuff. This episode is just packed with a lot of good stuff.
yeah.
So then Natalie is with Shauna, Misty, Van, and Ty. And she's trying to do some type of session, like through the cult, whatever. And they just want to booze. They're like, screw this. Let's drink.
I love them like sneaking it to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're acting like literally like high school kids.
Yeah, they're like passing
Yeah.
notes in class.
Yeah. And then how about once they all decide to booze, what Shauna says, I lost my goat, but I found him again. That was so funny. And then Lottie finds them. Lottie was looking for them because of this crazy vision she just had. And she's convinced. She tells them,
I think you should all go home.
they say, how about you just drink with us? And I guess Lottie's like, I mean, fuck that insane vision I just had. No worries. Let's booze. Because she just
Right.
gives up. Yeah. Like that was a
Although-
little serious what you just saw.
Maybe I'm just like reading too much into it, but I just thought it was funny that she kind of like gave into that, and they were like sitting under the chandelier of antlers, made of antlers. And it just feels like a foreshadowing of her giving into this antler queen thing.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Man, that was so cool. I can't wait to see more of those visions, man.
I know.
It's really, really cool stuff. So then, yeah, they're all just kind of hanging out, having a good time. And they ask Misty about this guy. Who's this guy? She tells them all about Walter. Oh, when you know, you know. And then how about Van?
Does he know?
I
So
love that.
good. So good. And then Nat chimes in and, hey, how much do you guys remember about all that stuff we went through? It's kind of hazy for me. And everybody kind of seems to agree. So that's interesting. It's kind of like block. Right as lightning crashes, the song comes on and Van gets all excited. She convinces Misty to dance. But as this is happening, they do some real fun editing tricks and go in the past, go back to current time, go to the past. And what's happening then? Shauna hears Misty humming the song that was like Jackie's humming, right? That she was doing. So she hears this and says, "Where'd you hear that? Where'd you hear that?" Hits her, freaks out.
It ain't my baby! I saw you! You were covered in blood! Just stop it! You're acting insane!
Lottie steps off to her. She socks Lottie, and then Lottie puts her hands behind her back and she just takes a whooping and wants it. Tells Shauna to
Like,
get it all out.
Savage too.
That was too far.
It was hard
Way
to
too far.
watch.
Yeah, way too far. She could have killed her easily.
Oh, easily. Like if I didn't
Yeah.
know that Lottie was alive, I
Yeah.
would have thought she killed her. You know.
Really, really, really dangerous stuff there. But I, one thing is she's not gonna ever hit her again. So maybe that Lottie wanted to get her anger out because she could sense that she's kind of fed up with Lottie's shit.
Yeah.
That's gonna squash
well,
that
and she's
beef.
fed up with everybody's shit, and she just went
Yeah.
through this whole thing about losing her kid. Like, of course she
Mhm.
needs like an outlet. What freaked me out was, did you notice when they like panned to the other girls' faces, like they all kind of looked a little bit excited.
Misty definitely, yeah, for
Like
sure.
they all just had this spark of like even backwards hat girl. They were like,
Mhm.
ah,
Yeah,
I kind of want to do this.
I think Nat was the only one that was kind of like, what the hell was going on right now?
Yeah.
Like she looked a little put
Yeah.
off. But somebody should have jumped in. That went too far, too long. Like she could have killed her. She hit her
Yeah, but
probably 20 times too many times. 20
if
times.
you jumped into that, you would have been next. Not
Yeah.
a chance. Not a
Yeah,
fucking chance. And also, Lottie asked for it, so
She
whatever.
did.
It's on
Put her
her.
hands behind her back, said, let's go, get it all out. We'll see how they interact now after that. And it's kind of weird seeing them in current time knowing that happened. That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah, their party gets interrupted in current time. Their little hangout session dancing by the fire because Jeff calls and it's urgent. Wants to talk to Shauna. And oh my God, Jules, he is describing that they found Adam and they found his body. You know that guy you were seeing? And he couldn't be more obvious because he's assuming someone's listening in, which they probably are.
The authorities believe that they have found his remains
Buried at Hacklebarney State Park.
He couldn't
Yeah.
be more obvious that he already knew about the situation.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
just
Yeah. But that's
foot
very Jeff.
in mouth. Very Jeff. So now we expected something like this to happen because Shauna's not there and they think she did it. Now they found the body. They're really gonna want to bring Shauna in soon.
And now
so
it
we'll
looks
see.
like she purposely fled. So
Yeah.
it's even more suspicious.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's very, very suspicious and bad. So that's how they end the episode. We're not done yet. We got something really cool to share with you now. Kiznbelle's Reddit post of the week. It's about the Morse code, and this is sick. So somebody figured out the Morse code, and here it is. I was curious about the Morse code during Misty's vision sequence and put it into a translator. Read left to right, it spells out this in Morse code. If you break down that Morse code, it spells out I love you in reverse. So cool. Thought it was a cool tidbit and wanted to post in case anyone was curious or suspicious of other secret messages. That is Misty telling herself that Walter loves her. And that's why he's texting her and messaging her.
Is
and
that why
trying
it
to get
was in
involved.
reverse?
I don't
Like,
know.
I
why
don't
it was in
understand why it was in
reverse.
reverse. I'm
Yeah,
sure
I'm
it
not
means
sure.
something. So those
know.
of you who are smarter than me, let me know. I'm so excited that someone did that because the first thing that I thought when I saw that was, I have no idea how to figure out what that means.
This episode was fantastic. I loved it.
So good.
You guys nailed a lot this week. So keep the comments coming.
Mhm.
Keep the theories coming. We have another theory video coming midweek with Kiznbelle and Mr. Kiznbelle. So make sure you check
Yes.
that out. If you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. We have the greatest community on YouTube already.
We sure do.
All right, that'll do it for this week. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.
Bye, guys.
Soon be again.